Good morning and welcome into the Farzy Show, everybody. My name is Marc Farzetta here at the Steven Singer Studios. The Philadelphia Phillies are all of a sudden the greatest team in the history of baseball with a 12-0 win over one of the best teams in baseball in the Milwaukee Brewers, taking Brandon Woodruff to the tune of four runs over 6 innings of work. They just tattoo him, and then they get to the bullpen. They hit a grand slam. Everybody gets a home run. It was a nice day at Miller Park out there in Milwaukee. So we got plenty to talk about as far as that goes. Yes, it is the first week of the NFL season for the Philadelphia Eagles. And although we did a show yesterday, I know a lot of you were still enjoying the Labor Day weekend, the long weekend. You're down the shore. Maybe you're a team. Maybe you're a family that goes up to Poconos and just enjoys yourself. So maybe you missed the show yesterday. But if you missed the show yesterday, you missed Nick Sirianni trying to give you as much coach speak as humanly possible in about a 6-minute window on Good Morning Football over the weekend. So we won't recap that again, but what we will give you today is, I believe, Nick Sirianni trying to set an all-time record for the amount of coach speak one can do in a little bit less than 90 seconds. Because Nick Sirianni gave a 17-minute press conference yesterday, and I'm still unsure of what to get out of it. He revealed nothing. Here's what we know. He's excited about his first game as an NFL head coach. His family loves him. We know that. And Nick Sirianni team likes to compete. He was asked point blank, so what can we expect from a Nick Sirianni team? What's a Nick Sirianni team look like? I believe it was Jamie Apodi of 6ABC that asked the question. And the funny thing was, it was like a 2-part question. And Nick Sirianni says, I'm sorry, I forgot the second part of that. What was it? Coach, what's your team going to look like? Oh, okay, thank you. Well, a team that I have is, and we'll let you hear from Nick Sirianni about how he describes what the Eagles are going to look like, or what a Nick Sirianni team is going to look like. So I look forward to that. Here's a spoiler, though. I'll give it. Nothing is revealed about scheme. It's almost like the Eagles and the Colts, go figure, under Frank Reich and under Doug Peterson, ran like the most 12 personnel you could possibly run in the NFL. And Nick Sirianni, hey, 12 personnel. Oh, never heard of it. Are you going to use 12 personnel now that Zach Ertz is back? 12 personnel. I don't even know what that is. Let's talk about 21 personnel. It just continues to not give. He continues to not give a lot of information about what he's going to do. And I, in no way, shape, or form, expect a head coach to talk about his game plan and exactly what he's going to do leading up to his first NFL game. No NFL coach is going to really show the cards as far as that's concerned. Just a little sneak peek. Well, what can you tell me? Can you tell me anything about your tempo? Can you tell me anything about your style, the way you want to coach? I know you've said in the past you want to coach to what you have, which is what ultimately all good coaches do. And I feel all good coaches say that in press conferences, but then they don't really do that on the football field and during the week when they're game planning for the game ahead of them. So we'll see how all this works out. I know a lot of us are anxious. A lot of us are eager to finally see it all come together, not in a vanilla type of offense, not in a vanilla type of defense, even with Jonathan Gannon, but just a lot of us are excited to see and eager to see what exactly we're going to be seeing a lot of during the Nick Sirianni era here in Philadelphia. We've already got a sneak peek at Jalen Hurts. We saw that last year. We know physically what the guy can do. We want to know how well he's going to perform in this offense with this group of receivers and with both tight ends healthy starting the season in Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert. Speaking of tight ends, I was speaking with our good friend, producer Jim, right, PJ, before the show, and he goes, yeah, you don't really see a lot of Dallas Goedert press conferences. You know what? You're right. You don't. And you might see a couple throughout the year if he has a good game and he's one of the players selected to address the media afterwards in this Zoom press conference era that we're in right now. But watching Dallas Goedert yesterday, Dallas Goedert gives me this vibe because he was asked about his contract. He was asked about Zach Ertz coming back. He was asked about whether or not Zach Ertz coming back affected his contract, that he doesn't have a new one and he's going into his the 4th year of his rookie deal, the 4th and final year of his rookie deal. He was asked about whether or not Zach Ertz had an effect on that. And here's what you get from Dallas Goedert. And I'll let you hear from him as well. Here's what you got. Dallas Goedert is a whatever type of dude. He's a whatever type of athlete. And there are certain athletes that I honestly believe when it comes to the business aspect of the game, whether it's football, baseball, whatever sport, any athlete, I believe that there are actual, genuine human beings that play professional sports that don't give a damn about their contract. They don't give a damn about the amount of money that they make. Now, this is in a different stratosphere than maybe somebody who's a complete upstart, is unaware of what their next contract is going to look like. That is kind of, those guys are exempt. Like, for instance, in baseball, Cliff Lee was a whatever type of dude. On more than one occasion, even used that exact word, whatever. As a matter of fact, I base this whatever type of athlete on Cliff Lee. The guy had already made his money. He had made less. He took less money from the Phillies than he did the Yankees because he wanted to play here. And supposedly his wife didn't like New York all that much. But he was always a whatever type of dude. He was even whatever about his performances. Even after a bad start, he would say, hey, man, I'm just trying to throw up zeros. So, whatever. Like that was his mentality, whether it was contract or on the field. Dallas Goedert is a very similar type of mindset to a guy like Cliff Lee. Chase Utley was a whatever type of dude. This is some high esteem to put Dallas Goedert in already. I get that, but I'm simply talking about the mental approach to the game, both the business aspect and actually playing the game. And Dallas Goedert is that whatever type of guy. And when you hear him speak and you hear him talk about his contract, this guy just wants to play football. Am I sure he wants to make the most amount of money possible? Absolutely, but it hasn't happened yet. Dallas Goedert will be looking at this year in a very similar light that I believe a guy like Zach Ertz will be looking at this year. They're both in contract years. This only helps the Eagles, and they're both not me first type of guys. Zach Ertz isn't a me first type of guy, and Dallas Goedert isn't a me first type of guy. These aren't the prima donna type athletes that we know so well throughout all professional sports, where it's where's my catches, where's my numbers, so that I can boost my contract at the end of the year. These guys want to win. And one of the best things I heard from Dallas Goedert on repeat, we talked about coach speak. We got some players speak yesterday as well. But I actually believe guys like Dallas Goedert. I believe guys like Zach Ertz. I believe those types of athletes, they're the type of athletes that simply want to perform and do what's best for the team. Zach Ertz even said in his press conference, he could have held the Eagles' feet to the fire. He could have forced a trade. He could have really been a prima donna here in Philadelphia. Instead, you know what he did? He showed up for training camp. He worked his tail off. And by all accounts, even listening to Russ Tucker with us, I played the highlight again for you guys yesterday, talking about, you know what is unfortunate about Zach Ertz coming back to Philadelphia when a lot of people thought, myself included, that he wasn't going to be back in Philadelphia. The best thing was people were talking about, or the worst thing was when people were talking about the contract, they weren't talking about what a great camp he was having. It was overshadowing that. Not because Zach Ertz was talking about it, but because everybody else was talking about it. And everybody else was trying to anticipate what the next move was going to be, whether or not he was going to be traded, whether or not somebody was going to get hurt around the league, and then he was going to be traded. No. Zach Ertz showed up, worked his tail off, had a great camp, and by all accounts, Dallas Goedert's doing the same type of thing. So now you go into this season with Goedert, with Ertz, with, I believe, with a speedy backfield in all your running backs with Boston Scott, Kenny Gainwell, and obviously Miles Sanders. And then you also go into it with 3 wide receivers that are also in that speedy category as well. I look forward, and you start out with a healthy offensive line. So I look forward to seeing what this Eagles offense can do when the season actually gets going come Sunday afternoon in Atlanta. And speaking of Atlanta, no better time to have a conversation with this man than this week. That's why it's a very special Hugh's Day edition of Hugh's Days with Hugh Lamont Douglas III, as he's obviously down there in Atlanta, been there for about 7 years now, hosted a morning show down there at 92.9 The Game in Atlanta. So I look forward to talking to Hugh Douglas about all the things that he gets in on when it comes to this Eagles matchup with the Falcons. And look, this was just off the top of my head. I can't remember the last time the Eagles and the Falcons kicked off the season with one another. I'm going to go ahead and assume it was 2005. It was the year after the Super Bowl. Donovan McNabb, it was dealing with that sports hernia. But the most famous thing about that game was the pre-game brawl at center at midfield. That allegedly, and I first heard this from Sheldon Brown way back when, allegedly that fight was started when Ike Reese started poking the bear a little bit. Ike Reese, former Eagle, long-term Eagle, Ike Reese, hosts afternoons over there at WIP. And apparently he and Jeremiah Trotter started jawing at one another. Apparently Trotter was poked a little bit and instigated by Ike, and then Trotter gets thrown out of the game. So Ike did his job. Ike did his job as a new member of the Falcons by pissing off his old team and his friend Jeremiah Trotter. So we'll get Hugh's perspective on that. Hugh wasn't in the game. He wasn't at the game, but Hugh had just recently retired to become, and I'll never forget this because there's never been one since, the ambassador of the Philadelphia Eagles, or as he liked to say, the badassador of the Philadelphia Eagles. But we'll get his perspective on what everybody told him coming back from the game. So we'll get that perspective because remember later that year, that was the fight. That was the hot tub fight with Terrell Owens. So that's what we got on tap today. Things we'll dissect, things we'll break down. And this is also interesting. Hugh was the first one to really get into the Dean Pease, the Russell Dean Pease, defensive coordinator of the Atlanta Falcons, what he's going to be bringing to the table against a young quarterback like Jalen Hurts. Because Pease is a guy that went to, he coached under Bill Belichick. He was defensive coordinator under Bill Belichick. He went to Baltimore, was the defensive coordinator there, won a Super Bowl there. Then he went to Tennessee, and now he is with the Atlanta Falcons. So this guy has been calling defensive plays for a long time in the NFL, and when he wasn't calling the plays, he had a lot to do with the plays, calling those plays for the Patriots, the Ravens, and all that, and now the Falcons, and Tennessee, and now the Falcons. So Jalen Hurts is going to face a formidable opponent, and I remember this is going to be one of those things. Like I remember going into a Super Bowl year with or going into the Super Bowl week with the Denver Broncos and the Carolina Panthers. And one of the biggest matchups I was looking forward to was Wade Phillips versus Cam Newton. And man, Wade Phillips had Cam Newton's head spinning throughout that game. It's just the old thing about an old school defensive coordinator going up against a quarterback that plays in this more modern, more mobile NFL. And I look forward to seeing how Jalen Hurts handles that because it will be a challenge because it's not just a young Jalen Hurts. It's a young receiving core. It's a young backfield. The thing that they have going in their favor is that their offensive line that I believe can play at a top level will be out there trying to make sure that they can dissect everything that's going to be thrown at them. It's going to be the second time in as many years they play in Atlanta. Last time that right before kickoff happened, we all know that there was a lot of injuries that fell upon the Eagles, unfortunately. One of them was Dallas Goedert, if you remember. Dallas Goedert went down, and I remember talking to Brandon Brooks and Jason Kelsey, and I talked to them in the locker room after they lost to Atlanta, and they flat out told me that when Dallas Goedert had to miss the game, it was Dallas Goedert, Deshaun Jackson, I believe even Alshon Jeffrey. When they had to leave the game, when Dallas Goedert had to leave the game because he's such a good blocking tight end, they had to throw out a lot of their run plays simply because they didn't have Dallas Goedert to rely on making blocks in their run game. Very interesting thing I found after the game. We'll see how that plays out this time around. But I do want to get into this before we really jump into the whole football thing. I'll let you hear from Nick Sirianni and Dallas Goedert. I do want to get into the Philadelphia Phillies and give them their just due. Game and a half out of first place. The Braves were idle last night. Game and a half out of first place in the NL East. 2 games out of first place in the wild card right now. So the Philadelphia Phillies are sitting in a great spot as they head into the next couple of games here against the Milwaukee Brewers. And that's after tattooing the Brewers to the score of 12-0. Home runs yesterday. Let's get it out of the way. Bryce Harper, Freddie Galvis, Andrew McCutchen with another home run. Gene Segura hit his first grand slam of his career. I had never seen that. I've seen plenty of guys call for the ball after a milestone happens. Hector Neris got his 500th career strikeout. Good for him. He asked for the ball. That's fine. But the ball was still owned. It was still in play. I haven't really seen too many guys, can't think of anybody else that ever hit a home run and was signaling to get the ball. I reached the milestone on the road. Ball's out of play. I want that baseball. And sure enough, they were able to, I think, exchange some memorabilia with the Milwaukee fan that caught the baseball, and Gene Segura got his ball back for his first career grand slam. Good for him. But bottom line is Zach Wheeler goes out there, 6 innings, scoreless baseball. Joe Girardi takes him out at six innings, 99 pitches. I don't have a problem with this. I am fine with Joe Girardi taking Zach Wheeler out. At the time, I believe it was a 4-0 game. So you had some run support for him. Your bullpen's got to be able to protect a 4-0 lead. I've talked about Joe Girardi not having a good feel. I've talked about Joe Girardi playing scared or managing scared. And yes, the thought popped in my head yesterday, but it was quickly dispelled and pushed aside with, no, if it's 99 pitches, you're up 4 runs, and you know you need Zach Wheeler for the rest of the month of September down the wide. And by the way, they're setting up the whole rotation now in the final 3 weeks of the season just to put Zach Wheeler in a spot where you get the most out of him. When you got a 4-run lead, 4-0 lead, 6 innings he's already given you, you should be able to look at your bullpen for 3 innings. And they did just that. I thought it was the smart play. I thought it was a good feel for the game as well from Joe Girardi. So yesterday isn't a day where I could chalk it up to Joe Girardi being scared or letting the numbers and the analytics dictate the way he was doing it. It was both a good feel. The numbers dictated it because even Ricky Batalica was talking about it during the post-game show that Zach Wheeler, over his last couple of starts, once he goes through that lineup 3 times, and you're going into the 7th inning, the 8th inning, the 9th inning, that's where his fastball starts to flatten out. That's where his fastball starts to lose life and all that. So I did not have a problem this time around with Joe Girardi managing anything in this game the way he managed this game. So kudos, credit where credit's due. This is an example of that. Bryce Harper is a guy that just continues to do what's most important, which is play at an extremely high level. Loved what I saw from Bryce Harper in this game, especially when it came to hitting a home run to get you on the board, the 2-run home run to lead things off, to get things going, I should say, for the Phillies. Freddie Galvis also homering in this game. Really, guys are producing, and that's what's ultimately most important. But the other thing that plays in here is the leadership. And you saw JT Realmuto. He's got the sore shoulder, but he's playing. He had praise for Rafael Marchand about what a great little young catcher, 22 years old, that he's been. Those are the leadership guys, the veteran guys that I think are going to be what you need to push you through the rest of September. Whether that's Andrew McCutchen hitting bombs, whether that's Freddie Galvis coming back to the Phillies to hit bombs for you, or whether that's JT Realmuto being a leader in the locker room, or Bryce Harper being both that leader. You need him to be in the clubhouse and on the baseball field. That ultimately is what could push them over the hump. I say all this still under the caveat that I'm still not buying it. I'm happy they're playing the way they're playing. Not to be negative Nancy, but I'm sticking to my guns. I just don't think they do it. I hope they do, but I just don't think they will. Aaron Nola is on the hill tonight. 7:40 start time in Milwaukee, so we'll see how all that shakes out. Look forward to seeing Nola hopefully bounce back, and just always want to see him pitch well. Hopefully we see that today. So the Phillies, like I said, a game and a half out of first place. You saw, by the way, yesterday I think I was calling Matt Moore a name that I hadn't even thought about. David Hale. I think I called him David Hale, like an idiot. That's, I guess, Labor Day brain talking. But yeah, Matt Moore goes out there, pitches well, straights out the side, and then you also have Hector Neris go in there before that and get you 1 inning. Matt Moore got you 2 innings. So great job by the Phillies bullpen yesterday. So we'll see how the Phillies do again against the Braves tonight, 7:40 start time. Nick Sirianni. Now let's get back to football. Nick Sirianni was asked the question, what type of team is a Nick Sirianni team? And I always love that question because I look forward to the answer because I think a lot of guys have a lot of different ways of answering that question. They could either just say, to hell with me. It's not about me. It's about, how the team performs ultimately. But Nick Sirianni decides to entertain the curiosity of Jamie Apodia, 6 ABC. And I'm going to put, I think this is a little less than 90 seconds. I think this is the most coach speak you can hear in a 90-second rant. Here is Nick Sirianni talking about what is a Nick Sirianni team.
Yeah, I just always remember my college coach saying anytime we would go and play an away game that he'd have, he was a college coach in Ohio, in the Ohio area, and anytime we go to different parts of Ohio to play a game, he said he'd always say to us as a staff, or as a team, I want them to see a tough team that gives everything they got, that's fundamentally sound, that fights for each other, that's accountable. So really, at the end of the day, it's all those. Like, I just always remember him saying that, and discipline and smart and tough. And it really is the things that we talk about with our core values, right? I want to see it. So I really want to see us being a team that connects. When we're in the end zone and when we get an interception or when we get a fumble recovery or turnover, I want to celebrate together amongst, and then I want to compete. I want to see a team that's fighting, and that's part of toughness, right? And accountability. And football IQ, I want to see a smart team out there in situational football and knowing what to do and not having mental errors and knowing their opponent and who they're playing. And then biggest one to me that I always want people to see in our football team is fundamentals, because again, this is something that I talked about from the beginning, that teams that play with good fundamentals, they win one-on-one matchups.
Yeah, we just went down memory lane. We went down memory lane for Nick Sirianni also, talking about what his college coach used to tell him and all that. Apparently, his college coach was very influential in his career, because when you listen to Nick Sirianni talk about his college coach, there's a lot of accolades and a lot of smiles and fond memories of this college coach. But discipline, smart, fundamentals, accountability. It's usually what you hear. I didn't hear accountability that time around, but I heard it smart. I heard physical. I heard winning the one-on-one battles. I heard they have to be well-disciplined. Just once, I want to hear a coach. Hey, coach, what's a coach X, Y, and Z like? What's a coach team like that? What are they like? We just kind of mail it in and hope for the best. Like just one time, I'd love to hear a coach say that. Even if it was just a joke. Just kind of mail it in. We don't really try that hard. I barely see these guys throughout the week, actually. We just try to show up on Sunday and win. That's kind of our mindset. Any given Sunday you can win, so hopefully this is our given Sunday. No. But a coach like Nick Sirianni, who comes from a coaching family, as he also expounds upon, he comes from a coaching family, loves his football coach from college and all that, so much so that he actually does something else in tribute to his college coach, and I'll tell you about that in a second. But when Nick Sirianni is asked about what makes a Nick Sirianni team, he reverts back to all the buttons you're supposed to push as a head coach. And you know what? That's how fine by me. That's what I'm not expecting him to reveal game plan by any means. I'm not expecting him to really give you any of the information, but I wouldn't mind a little morsel of just what we love to use our tight ends. We love to use our running backs out of the backfield. Something like that. That's it. That's it. Even that is general, but that's kind of specific when you're trying to measure it up against other coach speak. So that's Nick Sirianni on that. Now, Dallas Goedert also addressed the media yesterday, and yes, this is true. You don't hear a lot from Dallas Goedert. But one of the things he got into was his contract. The other thing he got into was how potent he and Zach Ertz can be when they're on the football field at the same time in 12 personnel, assuming that the Eagles run a lot of 12 personnel. Here's how he broke that down when he was asked about Zach Ertz still coming back to Philadelphia.
Honestly, I feel like it gives more problems to the defense than it does to myself. All I've ever really known is playing with Zach. To have two of the top tight ends in the league, I think, is beneficial for both of us. I think we'll both be utilized. I'm just excited to play with him for another year.
Isn't that nice? They're all happy together, having themselves a great time. That's just phenomenal. Let's get to the contract. Because the contract is what you expect a lot of athletes to give a damn about. I'm not saying he doesn't give a damn. I'm saying that I just don't think it affects his play. I think when it comes to his play, he does not give a damn what his contract is because the guy just simply wants to go out there and win. Here's Dallas Goedert when he was asked about his contract status going into his rookie year, and nothing's been done yet.
Yeah, my representation, we talked about it earlier. We thought we'd have a deal done by this time of the year, but the teams decided to go a different way. We haven't got that done yet. I'm not too worried about it. I believe in what I can do. I believe in, being able to go out and perform and, whatever happens, happens. But not too worried about my contract right now. Just want to focus on winning games, winning the division, and ultimately winning the Super Bowl.
I don't think he'd be saying that if he didn't have that Wawa money. Huh? I think he's got that Wawa money. He and Avonte Maddox, his roommate Avonte Maddox, I don't think they're worried about their contracts because they got that sweet Wawa money. They might have a endless gift card from Wawa. I don't know. But if you got that, you Gucci, bro. He just strikes me so much as I don't give a damn. I just want to go out there and play. That's all I care about. I know that might sound naive, but I'm telling you right now, there's not more than a handful of athletes I'd say that about. Some guys, I was never a huge Jay Leno fan by any means, but Jay Leno, and I didn't even hear him say this. I heard Mike Greenberg attribute this to Jay Leno. And Jay Leno said, according to Mike Greenberg, sometimes you just have to realize when you got it made. And I think there are very few athletes, few and far between, that just realize when they have it made. And I think Dallas Goedert is one of those guys. But at the same time, he and Zach Ertz are in the same type of pool where they're going into their year, the end of their contract, I should say, and they know that they can make bank by betting on themselves this season. And I know a lot of people look at it and just look at the numbers and say, oh, no, Zach Ertz has to get 90 catches, and he's got to get 1,100 yards, and he's got to get 10 touchdowns. He's got to be a me-first guy if he really wants to cash in. And maybe the same thing, you can say the same thing about Dallas Goedert. He's got to be me-first guy in a 12 personnel, and they were even asked about that yesterday. Dallas Goedert was even asked about that yesterday. Do you need a 12 personnel to make sure you get all the reps and all the catches going into a contract year? Do you need that 12 personnel? And he's like, no, it really doesn't factor into that. But here's why I also believe him on that. Because in years past, you didn't have all the numbers You just had yards, touchdowns, yards per catch, yards after the catch, and that was pretty much it. Now they got it's like every sport has become baseball now, where you can throw up a stat for anything. People around the league will know how good a player is, know what he could bring to the table. They know what they could do in their offense. Like, everyone has every analytic ever for a certain player and knows how valuable that player can be to their offense. So yeah, having the gaudy numbers, the flashy numbers certainly helps, but I think most teams know what each player has from an individual standpoint, talent-wise, and what that individual can bring into their team, whether that's Zach Ertz or Dallas Goedert. So I don't think you're going to need those big gaudy numbers. You're going to need good numbers, but I don't think you're going to need that big gaudy number to really drive up the price in free agency that'll affect it all as much as it used to, for instance. But I think we can all agree on this. I think this is still the last year that we see Zach Ertz here in Philadelphia. I don't think this is the last year we see Dallas Goedert here in Philadelphia. I think Dallas Goedert will still at the end of the year sign a long-term deal because basically he's betting on himself. And in a way, so is Zach Ertz by not coming back here and setting the world on fire, so to speak. So that's what I heard from yesterday when it came to everything with the press conferences. I watched Devontae Smith's press conference because I was hoping to just hear a little competitive edge from him. I'll say this, and I say this not as a complaint. I say this as if you're ever on the Eagles website and you're like, hey, I got like 10 minutes to kill. Let me watch a Devontae Smith press conference. Don't. The 10 minutes you will not get back. He is cut and dry, 7-second answers, doesn't really expound on anything, just loves to play football, loves his teammates, and that's all I give a damn. That's all I care about. Hey, good for you. You don't have to be, I'm not expecting him to juggle. I'm just letting you know. Totally aside, nothing related to how he's going to play the game. The guy is just all about football. Good for him. But I'm just saying, I'm trying to do you a favor as your friend. I'm telling you right now, folks. If you ever see, let me click and see what he said. He didn't say anything. There's the bottom line there. He loves Alabama. He loves his mom. Loves his teammates. And he loves getting open. All that I'm fine with. For anyone that says, I'm just laying the groundwork now in case he gets off in a bad start or whatever. Oh, you don't like him because he's boring. No, I'm telling you right now, I don't care. I want him to play well. I don't care if he's out there juggling flaming torches or whatever. I don't care. But I'm just letting you know as a friend, his press conference is boring as hell. All right. So anyway, here's what I got for you. We got Hugh Lamont Douglas III joining us in just a second. But before anything else, I'm going to tell you a guy that always gives a hell of a press conference, always entertaining, and that's Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. He's been on the show. The guy knows how to entertain. The guy's awesome. And you know what else he knows how to do? Take care of his customers with the perfect price every single day. A lot of places, they're going to say, oh, don't miss our Labor Day sale. Don't miss this sale. Don't miss that sale. Don't use this. You got to use this promo code. Not Steven Singer, because every single day is the promo code. You know what the promo code is? Hi, how are you? That's the promo code. Go to Steven Singer Jewelers. They'll take care of you with the perfect price every single time. For a number of reasons, and you heard me talk about this before. Main reason is they don't want you to feel like when you're going to buy a diamond, you need even more pressure on you. You know, enough pressure. Just because you found the person you love, you want to make sure you propose the right way, whatever it might be, if you're popping the question, or if you just want to make sure you're buying the perfect gift at the perfect price. Every single time you're going to get that perfect price because they don't want you to feel like you have to negotiate when you walk in there. They're not marking up things to make you feel uncomfortable. They're taking care of you by walking you through all the beautiful inventory they have at Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut, or online at IHateStevenSinger.com. That's online at IHateStevenSinger.com. Always fast and free shipping at IHateStevenSinger.com. So do what I do. Trust my good friend Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. IHateStevenSinger.com. Without further ado, a man that is always entertaining. A man that breaks it down for us when it comes to the Atlanta Falcons versus the Philadelphia Eagles, week 1 of the NFL season. On a fine Tuesday morning, Hugh Lamont Douglas III joins us on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an amazing, historic occasion for this happy Hughes Day morning. The first time we get to talk to Hugh Lamont Douglas III before an NFL football season.
Game week. We got game week jumping off, man, here. This is what we've all been waiting on. Football is upon us.
Let's see. Should I just, by the way, happy Hughes Day to you from 92.9 The Game, Hugh Lamont Douglas III. So let's just start with this. So who are you picking, the Falcons or the Eagles, Hugh?
I'm picking the Falcons.
Oh, come on.
No, but Mark, for the same reason that we've talked about for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Listen, I bleed green. There's no doubt about that. But I also have to be honest, fair and honest. And I know a lot of people that are listening to this podcast today are going to be pissed at me because they're going to feel like I'm being a traitor. That's not the case. I'm just being honest. Like, you know what? Listen, I'm talking to the people now. You know what part of some of you guys' problem are? You've lived your whole life around people who've been yes men to you and told you everything was going to be fine, and that's why you're in the position that you're in now. Sorry to be that guy. I hate to be Uncle Carlos at the barbecue telling you that your girlfriend is not that attractive when she really isn't, but that's the truth. And right now, I just don't feel like, I know the Eagles defense, they're pretty good, and that's going to be a problem. But offensively, got a lot of young cats on that other side of the ball, man, and it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. And I mean, maybe I'll use that analogy from now on, because I usually like to say that Philadelphia is the best friend that tells you, yes, those pants make you look fat, or yes, you got a boogie hanging from your nose. But maybe from now on, I'll just say, you know what? Philadelphia is the city that will tell you your girlfriend's unattractive.
Yeah, you have to. Like, hey, bro, that's not what's hot in the streets. Or for the women, or tell you your boyfriend's not that attractive. I don't want to be considered. Yeah,
right.
I don't want to be considered a chauvinist pig. So either or, just tell you that your
partner,
yes, is not that attractive. That's what they're not.
When asked, of course. Then we don't just volunteer this information.
I don't just offer that up. It's not like I'm gonna just, and I know there's gonna be a lot of Eagles fans here this weekend. I know that. And I'm gonna embrace you and I'm gonna love you to death because I miss you. I miss you a lot. But you don't want me to lie to you, do you? You don't want me to lie?
No, of course not. That's very Philly of you. Very Philly of you.
I was raised right. I'm not gonna especially when we're talking about my opinion.
Now, are you going to be out there? Are you going to be at the stadium?
Yes. As a matter of fact, Mark, we're trying to figure out the protocol for us being out there because, with this whole COVID thing, with this little nasty bug running around, it's probably going to be a little different. So haven't really gotten all the specifics right now. But, yes, I plan on being at the tailgate.
Okay. All right. Well, the people will seek you out then, hopefully.
I'll be there with bells on.
Now, okay, so the Atlanta Falcons, another year, Matt Ryan, Arthur Smith, new head coach, and all that stuff. What is Atlanta bringing to the table? What should Philadelphia fans be worried about or thinking about going into this week 1 of the NFL season against the Falcons?
I have no clue, Marc Farzetta, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because if you watched any preseason game that the Atlanta Falcons have been in, none of the starters really have played.
Right.
Now, there are some questions about the offensive line because the offensive line was a big issue last year. And I know that there's some talk about Jalen Mayfield potentially starting in this game against the Philadelphia Eagles. But outside of that, I can't tell you what kind of scheme that they're running. I can't even tell you what they're running defensively because they've played it close to the vest. Only thing I've seen play is young guys. Grady Jarrett hasn't been out on the field. Kyle Pitts was only out there for a short period of time. Matt Ryan dressed, but he did not play at all. So they're playing it real close to the vest, kind of like they're doing up there in Philadelphia right now.
Sure. So that's interesting. But you still think the Falcons will beat the Eagles?
Well, and the reason why I think that is because when you look at the most important position on the field, the quarterback spot, I think Matt Ryan is better suited to handle adversity as the game progresses. And what I mean by that is this. When you have a young quarterback out there, this is from the school of Jim Johnson's Blitz Academy. I like that name, Jim Johnson's Blitz Academy.
That's great. Should print up some T-shirts.
Yes. Jim Johnson, when it came to playing young quarterbacks, you show them everything and you confuse them. You make them make decisions quickly. You don't give them a chance to be comfortable. So with that being said, you got a young receiving corps. You have a running back group that is kind of banged up right now in Philadelphia. So if I'm a defensive coordinator, I'm taking away the running game immediately. I'm going to put 8 in the box, and I'm going to let you know right now that the only way you're going to beat me is if you throw the football. And with that being said, I'm bringing everybody and their mother on every play. I'm bringing everybody and their mother. I'm disguising coverages. I'm going to be, making sure that I show you one look and I'm going to change it at the very last minute. I'm not going to give you a chance to look at my defense. And on top of that, yes, I'm coming after you every play. I don't think with the body of work that I've seen so far with Jalen Hurts that he's going to be prepared for that. I think if you do the same thing with Matt Ryan, because you can, when you talk about Brandon Graham, and Fletcher Cox, and the fact that you have an offensive line that's shoddy at best. They haven't shown the best in the preseason.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be an issue, but I think Matt Ryan is better suited to adjust because he has Calvin Ridley. You got Mike Davis back there, and you got the man from Philadelphia himself, Kyle Pitts, who you can line up anywhere. I think that you have a lot of different weapons offensively that can help you slow that pass rush down with the Atlanta Falcons as opposed to what the Eagles have right now.
I will say this. The running backs, even Miles Sanders, who had a really bad training camp, dropping balls left and right, and Kenny Gainwell is a rookie. Jordan Howard, who is still on the squad, practice squad, I believe. And there's one more, of course, Boston Scott. I don't think the Eagles, and I was talking about this yesterday, I don't think the Eagles are going to be a big run team anyway. I think their whole thing is going to be misdirection, screen plays, all that types of stuff. So when you go aggressive, does that make you more susceptible to screens?
I think it does, but it also, like, you're not going to be able to keep screens in those dink and dunk plays are not going to get you touchdowns, in my opinion. Those are gadget plays that you run to help try to slow things down. But if that's going to be your bread and butter, Mark, I don't think that's going to help you out, because when you look at this league and you look around this league, teams that have the most success, you got to throw the ball down the field. You have to throw the ball down the field. Now, if you're talking about your first 15 and you want to come into a game with the little flashy, gimmicky plays and stuff like that, that might get you a touchdown, but that's not going to win you the football game.
Gotcha.
And I think in order to do that, you're going to have to throw from the pocket. And I think that when you talk about the receivers that you have, the young core that you have, if I'm a defense coordinator, I'm challenging them from the gate. Every time that you get into a passing situation, I'm going to play press coverage, and I'm going to challenge them, because they're going to this is the thing. You're going to have to show me that you can play quarterback at this level. Like, you have to show me that. I know you have all the athletic talent in the world. So up front, I might take my shots with you, but I'm going to keep you in the pocket. I'm going to make sure that I don't break down my contain and everything and allow you to get outside the pocket and extend the play so that you can potentially make plays. I'm going to make you beat me from the pocket. I'm going to squeeze the pocket, and when you get ready to throw, I'm just going to get my hands up. That old defensive line adage, when your quarterback, you got a quarterback that likes to scramble, you just go 1, 2, 3, and you get your hands up to try to bat the ball down and make you throw it from the pocket, make you as uncomfortable as possible. And that's another thing. When you talk about a young quarterback, I just have a feeling that if it's not going well for Jalen Hurts early, he might start to try to improvise. And that's when you get into a little bit of trouble. You get into trouble because you're trying to force certain things down the field and things of that nature. And that's what gets you making mistakes. That's what I vividly remember about Jim and playing against young quarterbacks. Confuse the hell out of those young guys. Make them make bad decisions. And if you can make him do that early and often, you got a great chance of winning this football game.
And that's what you learned at the Jim Johnson School of Blitzing?
Blitz Academy.
Blitz
Jim
Academy.
Johnson Blitz Academy. Yes.
Good enough. Another thing here is, does anybody caring about the Falcons? Anybody caring about the Braves now that Georgia football started? What's going on now?
No, let me tell you. This is Mark, this is college football central.
Jeez.
This is college football central, man. And I can tell you to a man, with the big win that the Georgia Bulldogs had over Clemson this weekend, it was 10-3. That's going to be a huge topic. The fact that LSU lost to Chip Kelly at UCLA after Coach Ed Ogeron, go Tigers, went out there and talked all that trash to the UCLA fan base and then got beat. Have you ever heard Coach Ogeron?
Oh, yeah, I have.
Go
Yeah. Be careful of that cigar, boy.
And we're going to talk about Bryce Young and not only the fact that he's making probably 6 figures in the NIL situation, but the simple fact that right now, this weekend, with their win over Miami, that he's going to be in the Heisman conversation.
Wow.
Yes.
So that'll dominate the airwaves on Tuesday morning.
And I know what you want to talk about. I do know for a fact that the Phillies are surging, but the Phillies are surging, which I said they would. I said the Phillies are not going anywhere. But as far as Atlanta Braves concerned, when was the last time they played? Because I don't know. Because I've been watching football. No disrespect to any baseball, Braves fans, or whatever.
All right.
there was some great games on television this weekend as far as college football is concerned.
Well, I'll tell you one of them right now was not Temple University. So real quick, you were hyped last week about at least going maybe to see Trotter's son playing for Clemson. Maybe he didn't get that many reps.
No, I don't think he got that many reps because I was looking at. I know we talked to Trot, and he said he was going to start on those special teams. Didn't really get a chance to see him that much, but I did see some of the pictures that his wife Tammy put up and Trot. They had a ball out there seeing that son run around the field. So they saw, hey, man, listen, you got to crawl before you can walk. And I have a feeling in the next couple seasons, we're going to be hearing a lot about Jeremiah Trotter Jr. down there at Clemson.
All right. I look forward to it. I do want to ask you about this real quick because the Eagles announced their captains. And I don't remember captains being a big thing, if any type of thing.
They get to wear the seat on the right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, to me, it's always a hockey thing, but I just want to make sure I give you these names here. So Fletcher Cox, Jalen Hurts, Jason Kelsey, Rodney McLeod, Brandon Graham, and Alex Singleton, their linebacker who led them in tackles last year. They are your captains for the 2021 NFL season. Were captains a thing when you played, or were they just not a big deal? They didn't even name them.
I don't think it was a big deal when I played. I know that a couple of times during the playoffs we had honorary captains or whatever like that, or guys that were appointed captains by Coach Reed. But I don't think that was a big deal to have the C on your jersey.
Does it mean anything to you?
Sense of security, a false sense of security. Because I think that, and listen, this is me. I'm going to be totally honest.
Yeah, of course.
This is me being cynical.
You grew up in Philly. You're fine.
Yes. So this is me being cynical. So I don't want any of your listeners or your followers to be like, oh, he's such a Richard for things. But let's piece this out a little bit, Mark. You made Jalen Hurts an honorary captain.
Yes.
Hell, you just named Jalen Hurts the starting quarterback last week.
Oh, he's a full-fledged captain. He's not just honorary.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
yeah.
I said honorary, like I guess subconsciously I was trying to make it, make my point.
Yeah.
Subconsciously.
Yeah, exactly.
Think about that for a minute, though. You took all off season to really figure out who was going to be your starting quarterback with all these rumors and innuendo running around, and you made him captain off of 10 plays in the preseason. Listen, man, and I might be beating. I don't want to say beating a dead horse because that might offend some people, but I don't want to be beating the same drum.
Right.
I have a feeling that Jalen Hurts is on borrowed time, man. And you heard it here on the Farzy show. I just have a strong feeling that Jalen Hurts is on borrowed time when it comes to being a starting quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. I really do. And
you haven't been shy about that. You have stuck to that.
I think that C on his jersey is a false sense of security. Because think about it, Mark, you just got named the starting quarterback. What other way to galvanize that you're the guy? Hey, give me the C. That might be a setup for failure.
Right. But it is interesting in that, we're going to take forever to realize whether or not you're actually taking the reins as the number one quarterback here. But not only have you done that, you're also a team leader.
Oh, you're the leader. Mark, and listen, and this is the thing, and people need to realize this. Yes, football is fun, and we love and we're passionate about football. Football is also a business. It's also a business, and they're in the business of winning football games.
Mm-hmm.
And if Jalen Hurts struggles, I think that his leash is going to be short as far as making him the starter. Now, there's one caveat with that. I think it all is predicated on how well and how quickly Gardner Minshew picks up the offense. I really think that there is a strong possibility that if Jalen Hurts struggles this weekend against the Atlanta Falcons, we might get to see Gardner Minshew. I really believe that. And I know that is not a popular opinion amongst your fans, but I'm just saying it just reeks to me when you talk about all the speculation that has gone in this offseason about Deshaun Watson and the fact that, people were looking at Joe Flacco to potentially be the quarterback if he would have played a lot better in the preseason. And then you go out and get Gardner Minshew before the season starts. I just think that Jalen Hurts is going to have to look over his shoulder. And that's not a comfortable spot to be in for anybody. I wish the young man the best. I really, really do. And I hope everything that I'm saying is dead ass wrong. But when you look at the way that it's starting to shape up, it just feels like that's what it's potentially going to be. But it all depends on how well he plays. And I hope, I hope I'm wrong. Like I said, I hope I'm wrong.
Right. And that's where I think you and I did, like, throughout the offseason, I was note for note with you, stride for stride. They're not committing to him. They owe him nothing. They got 3 first-round picks potentially next year. Probably 3 first-round picks now that Carson Wentz looks like he's going to play week 1. Mm-hmm. There's all this stuff going into it. But once they got Gardner Minshew, I thought at least Jalen Hurts will have the reins for the season. If he does really suck, or if he gets injured and he's out for a long time and Gardner Minshew comes in and he's playing really well and it looks like the team's going to in the running for the playoffs, that's where I think Minshew has the opportunity. But I do think that put it this way, my difference is the leash is a lot longer for me before they replace Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I mean, and it might be, but I'm just looking at, and I got to be clear, in my mind, I'm thinking if he struggles mightily.
Right.
Like mightily struggles.
Right.
Like has to struggle. Like for them to pull him this week, there has to be him a deer in the headlights type situation. Mm. I mean, to be honest, Mark, 4 games under your belt, 10 games this year, I don't know. I've always said it takes 4 games to figure out what a quarterback is.
Right, especially if he's going to be facing the Jim Johnson Blitz Academy.
And then, listen, man, Dean Pease, go look at his resume. He might be a little bit older, but Dean Pease has had some hellified defenses. About the Dean Pease Blitz Academy, too. So I'm just saying, man, and I just feel like your biggest strength going into a game like this is to make the quarterback as uncomfortable as possible. Okay. Now, defense has the potential to do the exact same thing. But like I said, I think Matt Ryan is better equipped to weather that storm as opposed to Jalen Hurts because of the body of work.
All right, let me ask this question because I know you weren't on the team at the time, but I believe this is the last time the Eagles and the Falcons kicked off the season was back in 2005, and the very famous pregame kerfluffle happened at midfield. I know you weren't there in Atlanta, but I know you knew a lot of people that were there in Atlanta, including then newly minted Atlanta Falcon Ike Reese, of all people, was there at midfield. Jeremiah Trotter was involved. From what got reported back to you, first off, what was it like watching that? At the time, you were the team ambassador or bad-assador. What was it like watching that? And then what did you later learn about that little kerfluffle before the game?
Well, the kerfluffle, what I learned was, it was weird to see initially because it was like at the beginning of the game, you saw guys warming up, and then all of a sudden, all hell just broke loose. And then all of a sudden, Trott's on the sideline. He can't even play. There's so many different stories and rumors that went along with that. I heard that Ike Reese was the instigator. My bad, dog, but that's what I heard. I mean, I don't think we had a chance to discuss this, but that's what I heard. I heard that you were the instigator.
I heard the same thing.
Yeah, I have not verified that. So I'll probably get a phone call from Ike when this airs, and he's probably going to have some choice words for me, which is cool. I'll be a man. I own up to it. I'm a man. I'm own up to it. But that's what I heard. I heard it was Ike. I heard Ike was the one. They got the party started. Got Trot kicked out the game. So
he did his job then. He did his job.
I don't think it's going to be any of that this weekend, by the way. I don't think so. But I think it's going to be a really, really good game.
All right. Can't wait. Who wins the NL East?
That's a tough question.
And even if it is the Braves, will Atlanta even know?
Yes, they will know.
Oh, damn it. Okay.
But you know what, Mark? I mean, it's going to be between, well, obviously, with Captain Obvious over here, it's going to be between the Phillies and the Braves. And for me to have played all my days in Philadelphia and to work in Atlanta, I'm torn. I mean, I really am, because I have what's funny? I got my Brave shirts on one side, then I got my Philly shirts. So I think I'm just going to take 2 shirts and I'm just going to, sew them together, the P and the A, and do it like that. Yeah. Like that.
Just like that. Hugh Lamont Douglas III, always great talking to you, especially on this fine Hughes Day morning, leading up to Eagles Falcons. Do you have a score? Can you give me a score this early in the week?
Not this early, Mark.
I didn't think so.
I'll text it to you.
Text me. All right, you text me. I'll read it to the good people on Friday morning. How about that?
Good people on Friday morning.
You got it, brother. Hey, Hugh, always great catching up with you. Thanks so much, brother.
Always, brother. Have a good one.
The great Hugh Lamont Douglas III joining us on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. Thank you, brother.
Peace.
My thanks to Hugh Lamont Douglas III, that is, for joining us there on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. Always breaking it down. But I got to say something, folks. I'm not going to say what it is just yet. But I will say this. I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed. I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed. We're about to do our social media check-in. And of all the things we've talked about today, we haven't talked about this one particular thing. And I'm going to say this, chat. Not angry. I'm just disappointed. You just sit and stew. Let that stew for just a second. I do want to tell you about this. My friends there over there at Rothman Orthopaedics. Remember the old you who didn't have to put up with a fickle knee, a finicky hip, or a shoulder that no longer does what a shoulder should do? The Rothman approach to orthopedics is here to get you back to being you, back to running, walking, working, and playing, back to living your life the way you want. With same-day appointments available, you can start today at RothmanOrtho.com. That's RothmanOrtho.com. Rothman Orthopaedics, the official orthopedic partner of your Phillies, Eagles, and 76ers. If you weren't with us yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, new sponsor of the Farzy Show. Welcome in BetQL. That's right, BetQL, a phenomenal sports betting app that you have to check out. If you want to get the advantage over your sportsbook, you need to download BetQL, the only app you'll need to make smart bets throughout football season and all the seasons. Their best bet computer model scans over 350,000 unique bets per year to give you the best bet recommendation for every game across all major sports, and they also give you reason behind who you should put your bet on. Their model covers everything from spreads, over-unders, player prop bets, everything. Don't want to use the model that they prefer? Then you can also make your own research and use the BetQL app to do that. All the necessary tools, they got them all right there for your betting research needs. Everything from sharp data to line movement, to team summaries, lineup and injury, breaking news, and even leaderboards. You can track your success right there with BetQL. Head to the App Store right now or Google Play Store and download the BetQL app. Oh, and when you're done doing that, make sure you head on over to Steak and Maine for a fine meal in the heart of Northeast Maryland. Whether you dine in their more upscale steakhouse, their casual bar and patio, you'll find the highest quality prime meats, fresh seafood, and world-class oyster bar, and freshly prepared sushi. All that, and an extensive wine list, including their own Cavada Cellars wines. Open every day for lunch, dinner, or Sunday brunch. Steak and Maine in Northeast Maryland, voted #1 place for steaks in America by the Travel Channel and the Cooking Channel. Check it out for yourself. Go to steakandmaine.com. We got Eagles news, we got Phillies news, we got Sixers news going on, Flyers news is going to be going on soon as well. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you're following it all on the PHL Sports Nation website. That's PHL Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience. Now let's jump into our social media check-in brought to you by Steak and Maine and steakandmaine.com. Here we are. I can't believe it. Ladies and gentlemen in the chat, mainly, and I don't see, is Mally in today? Is Mally, maybe it's Mally. But Dan, you're here. April, you're here. Matt, some other regulars, of course. Folks, I wear the emo shirt and not one emo reference in the chat today. Come on, people. What, is it a vacation braid? Come on. Anyway. I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed. That's it. I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed. For those that just listen to the podcast all the time, the last time I wore a dark gray shirt, I got called Emo Marc. And it was about 2 weeks. So I gave the emo shirt about 2-week reprieve. And here it is. It's back. Oh, Mally. It's good. Dan is saying it's because of Mally. It's because Mally's absent that we don't have any emo references today. But you know what? Hey, next man up, guys. Next man up. If one guy's gonna miss a game, then guess what? Next man up. All right, that's enough of that. What do we got here? All right, let's see. Dan Schwartz checking in. Good morning. Phillies will get the sweep, then lose 3 or 4 to the Rockies. Sticking with it. You're not far off. Broads Media. What's up, Broads? Dan saying, what's up, Broads? Broads saying, what's up, Dan? This is nice. We're all getting to know each other. Rob's checking in, another regular. Lit up Woodruff. Damn right you did. They were just tattooing him yesterday. Love seeing it. Hey, look, you know what people forget about Freddie Galvis? Freddie Galvis hit 20 home runs. I think it was his second to last year in Philadelphia. And people were talking about, oh, you can get rid of Freddie Galvis because he doesn't hit with pop and he's a shortstop. The man hit 20 home runs, gave you Gold Glove quality shortstop is stuff. So yeah, he's fine. Anyway, comes back here, starts hitting bombs again. He's here to hit dingers, folks. What else do we have? Nick Sirianni, captivating as always. Matt saying that about Nick Sirianni. I don't know what it is about Nick Sirianni. He's gotten better. And you could only go up from his introductory press conference. And I don't even like bringing up the introductory press conference simply for this reason. Not everybody's cut out to be a public speaker. Not everybody's supposed to be out there at the podium. No one's supposed to be on a microphone. Not everybody's supposed to be on a microphone. But this guy he seems to be in his natural habitat when he's on the football field and you've caught him mic'd up and he's talking to his players. And from all accounts, the players love the guy. So that's all that matters. But when I watched him yesterday or I watched him on Good Morning Football, like sometimes just a lot of nervous energy comes across. And it's like, all right, dude, just relax. Just take it easy. Just take it easy. And he needs a little deep breath from time to time. I thought yesterday was an example of that. Yeah, it was a lot of coach speak. He wasn't saying anything about game plan or showing any of his cards or any of that. But it's just a couple of moments where you're like, all right, brother, hey, cool. We're cool, man. We're cool. It was, I don't know. It's just, apparently I'm not the only person that picks up on that. But Matt's saying he's addicted to the guy. All right, you do you. It's like a different, odd version of Doug, according to Dan Schwartz. I can't see any correlation between them. They both seem like swell guys. There's my correlation between the two. They both seem like swell guys. April, what's up, April? April was tweeting the other day that she was talking to somebody during Dress Down Day. Remember Dress Down Day? I went off on a whole rant about my grade school and Dress Down Day last week. April is saying that she wore her Dawkins jersey. Somebody else wore a Marshawn Lynch jersey, but they didn't get references to Marshawn Lynch. They didn't know who the person was. They just wore the jersey. Come on, folks. I understand the Yankees hat has become a fashion symbol. But it doesn't mean I have to like it. I don't like it when people just wear a jersey just to wear a jersey. If you're wearing a jersey, you better know something about that player. These are the rules, folks. I didn't make them. Matt saying he enjoyed Ross Tucker. I enjoyed Ross Tucker. Dan, steak and Maine B. Itch. Figured I get that out early. Nice job. Rob, Gainwell legit. I think Kenny Gainwell is legit. Legit as in... I'll set some numbers for Kenny Gainwell. I'm going to put him at... I'll put Kenny Gainwell at 35 receptions. 35 receptions, maybe 40 receptions on the year. That's where I got Kenny Gainwell at. Laugh out loud. Easy trade for the fan. What good Gene Segura baseball at the end of the day. Oh, what good is a... Yeah, you're right, Dante. Easy trade for a fan. Yeah, I mean, the only thing is, if you're a kid and you catch the ball, that's a ball you want to hold on forever. But if they're willing to give you other stuff in return, I guess. But that's the thing. Did they I think he was a Brewers fan, so did they give him Brewers memorabilia? Because I doubt he wanted, Phillies memorabilia. Anyway. I'm mad at homers, but I still don't trust them to play small ball. Oh, I'm not mad at homers, but I don't trust them to play small ball. April, you're right. They don't really play a lot of small ball. No doubt about that, the Phillies. But I'd like them. Hey, if they're going to keep on hitting bombs, then, hey, why not? It's a pass-happy league in the NFL. It's a homer-happy league in baseball. It's a three-happy league in, if you're a fan of offense, this is the best era of sports ever for you, what we're experiencing right now. Aaron got vaccine jokes. Dan, Blanton would eat the vaccine. Joe Blanton, you know what Joe Blanton's doing now? Joe Blanton is a sommelier, which I know what, everyone just looks at Joe Blanton and be like, oh, he's a big dude. He's probably crushing beers. Joe Blanton is a sommelier. And he's like a high level, like what do they call it? A third degree sommelier or something like that, where they put a blindfold on you and they walk you in a room with wine. And you smell the wine and you're like, I'm getting notes. I'm getting notes of the whatever. I don't even know. It's got alcohol. I'll have some. Whatever. Got notes of the Galliopo grape. Of course, that's the grape I go to. For you wine people, you get that. Anyway, I will say with Joe Blanton, he'd probably smell the vaccine. I'm getting notes of things I'll put in my body because I feel like this will help me against coronavirus. I will say this. If are any huge wine people in the chat? Because I'm asking this question legitimately while it's on my mind. My wife and I were in Italy, and we're having dinner. We were in Positano, and I want to use this cup to demonstrate what happened here. The waiter, we ordered a bottle of white wine. We were having fish, basic rule, right? And we got this bottle of wine. I can't remember if it was a Pinot Grigio, a Sauvignon Blanc, or whatever. And I just remember the maitre d' comes over to my table, to my wife and I. Nice enough guy. And we're dining like right on the beach almost in Positano. And he explains to me, he goes, sir, we just started serving this wine and I have not had it yet. Would you mind if I had a little sip of your wine? And I've never had anyone ask me that ever. So this guy comes over to my table and basically asks for a sip of wine. And I knew he worked there. It wasn't like some weird. In Italy, I wouldn't put it past someone just do this at the table. But anyway, so the guy pours, I swear he poured maybe vapor into his wine glass. Maybe. Like it was less than a sip, okay? The Ray Romano line is it was like a damp rag is basically what he poured himself. And anyway, he takes it, does the quickest sip you could imagine, and then puts look what I'm doing here. He puts can you get that? You getting that? You get it? Puts the glass on one of his nostrils and takes a deep breath and goes, I am getting notes. I'm getting the notes. How you say notes? I'm getting the notes of the flowers that grow native to Positano. And he goes through this whole spiel and then another sniff with the same nostril. But I've never seen, and I been to Napa. I've had my share of wine. I've had people, try to show off for it, tell you how great wine is, whatever. And they like inhale with the mouth, that whole thing. Have you ever seen this, folks? Have you ever seen that? I don't think I've ever seen that. By the way, thanks to the Philadelphia Union for providing me with my sniffing cup. Anyway, so I've never seen that before. If you've seen that before, I'd love to hear from you because I think he's the only guy in the world that does that. Let's see. Mike Casey. Okay, Nick Sirianni giving anyone else Biden vibes. No, I won't say that. I will just say that Nick Sirianni has, I think, a lot more energy than the current president of the United States. Is that political to say the one guy who's got all the nervous energy in the world has more energy than a guy who does not have a lot of energy, it seems? What else do we have here? So you guys know Dallas and Carson have the same agent, right? Yes. But I don't think Dallas is I'll put it this way. All the nice stuff I said about Dallas Goedert and his personality, that's not Carson Wentz. And I know the agents have a lot more sway and pull than a lot of people want to give him credit for. Like a lot of people will say, hell, no. The agent works for the player. And yes, that's true. But it doesn't always work like that because a lot of times the player will just defer to the agent because the agent knows the market. And if the agent knows the market, the agent knows the money. And if that's the way it works, which is how it works, a lot of times the player will just go, oh, yeah, whatever you think is best. So I think the player has even when Zach Ertz addressed the media last week, what did he say? He said he sat down with his agent and he said, look, the plan is we're not leaking anything. We're not holding anybody's feet to the fire. We're just going to play this down the middle and we're going to see how it turns out. Promo code is actually how high are you? That's hilarious, Dan. That goes back to my Steven Singer reference. Stop telling me not to. Only makes me want to watch it more. Oh, Alabama. Oh, April. You. Don't like it, Hugh, but I see it. Dan, Uncle Carlos then steals the girl. This is going to be my analogy from now on when it comes to telling people what's great about Philadelphia. Philadelphia is the city that are like, hey, what do you think of my girlfriend? And we'll be like, nope, don't like her. Do not like her a little bit. Well, she's really pretty, right? I think somebody said it here in the I think somebody said it in the chat. She's got a great personality. Oh, Luigi's calling me out because of the weather girl again. I don't disagree. Thanks, Mark. Mark, thanks for the weather girl. We basically had a tornado and flooding occurred. No notice or anything. I'm not a lawyer, but I think you're liable. I said, that's on me. I take full responsibility. I need to do a better job of putting girls in a better position to tell you where the tornado is coming from. And Luigi says, that's all I ask. We'll get a weather girl for you guys again. I promise I'll try. That's all I can tell you. Wow, I'm a failure. How did I not notice? That's on the emo thing, Dan. Come on, bro. I like that you guys keep track of my coughs. You guys are the best. You should be better than his first presser. Laugh out loud. You're not wrong, Rick. You're not wrong. No, see, Ronald, that's what I've been talking about with Nick Sirianni. I am actually looking forward to that one moment where he calls 10 pass plays in a row and they lose and we talk about it after the game and they ask him about it after the game. I'm waiting for that moment where he goes for it on a fourth down situation and it was the total wrong move to go for it on a fourth down situation. There's going to be a moment, there is every single year and almost every single loss, almost every single game, regardless of win or lose, where the coach makes a decision that just seems stupid. And then we got to go in the press conference and be like, Coach, what the hell was that? And then he's got to explain it. And it's almost going to be like the kid who broke the lamp. Now, the lamp, right? There's a lamp in the room, and there's a lamp, right? And I was there, and you guys were there, and you saw it, and the lamp broke. I happened to be there, right? And I love the lamp because the lamp loves ball, and I love all things that love ball. Lamp loves the ball. And I walked by, and my shoulder hit it, and the lamp broke. And now, right, if you hit it, it breaks. And I'm just telling you, right, that if you do that, like that's what we're going to say from Nick Sirianni. And in the sickest, darkest recesses of my brain, I'm going to enjoy it for some stupid reason. Let's see here. PJ, what's up? Should be better than the first press conference. Nothing about sports. Oh, April's talking about the person at work that didn't know anything about sports. Yeah, her brother brought her the jersey. Just give a fun fact. April tried dropping a reference saying, I'm just here so I don't get fined. And she was like, what? You got to at least know that. Anyway, whatever. And by the way, April, the video that either Dan or Mally shared with you on Twitter yesterday, I actually saw that video while I was at a bar in Seattle. I was doing a Seattle Seahawks game for Sunday Night Football the following day. The following night, and I was at a bar called the Nightlight in Seattle, which I'm not sure is still around or not. But one of the unique things I remember, two things. One, I watched the video and thought it was the funniest freaking thing I ever saw in my life. The other was that the menu at the bar in Seattle was painted on the wall, and it was just pictures of the dishes. They literally, I said, hey, can I get a menu? And they pointed to the wall, and it wasn't like a chalkboard. It was just like nachos, fish tacos, whatever, and it was painted on the wall. It was some artist, local artist, painted the menu on the wall. It didn't even say it. It was just pictures of nachos, fish tacos, cheeseburgers, fries, and stuff. It was a cool one. It was, I don't know, I thought it was unique. I never saw a bar like that. But yeah, make sure you give those people all that great information that before they wear the jersey. Box of wine for me. Slap the bag, April. Way to be. Chris is saying box of wine. I don't think I've ever had a box of wine. Not that I'm judging. My wife played slap the bag a lot in college, apparently. Anyway, bruh, keep your schnoz out of my wine. Now, I will say this. April, he poured his own glass. He didn't use mine. I want to make sure. The Italians really don't believe in social distancing. So at any point, pandemic or no pandemic. But no, that's one thing you did not do was take my glass. It is like a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode, James. Latte Larry. So true. It was like a Curb Your Enthusiasm. I just remember watching, and he told me that the wine was really good, and he's glad that they carry it. And I was like, yeah, I thought the wine was really good. It went really well with whatever. I don't remember what I had that day because I was so enthralled by the one nostril. What would Larry David call that guy? The one nostril sommelier? The Sinazole? No, that's not funny. What would Larry David call the one nose? What would he call that guy? I don't know. Anyway, thanks everyone that checked in our social media. Check out brought to you by Steak and Maine and steakandmaine.com. Couple of quick things in our Morning Rush segment brought to you by Sky Motor Cars and skymotorcars.com. Let's look at this right here. Start off on a sad note, folks. Michael K. Williams, actor who played Omar Little in The Wire, one of the greatest shows in the history of television, died, was found dead in his apartment in Brooklyn at the age of 54. Sometimes, like, when you look at people that pass away, people that pass away far too soon, like I watched The Wire way late. I got on that bandwagon like a year ago. And I remember watching that, and then it's like funny. It's like you watch that, and then something else will happen that will immediately remind you of the show. And when I was watching the show, immediately after, I watched Anthony Bourdain on No Reservations. I just happened to watch, I think it was his last episode of No Reservations, which was one of the shows, I think it was the show that actually put Anthony Bourdain on the map on CNN. And he was going through Brooklyn. And one of the people he walked around Brooklyn with was Michael K. Williams. And they went to like all these different places throughout Brooklyn. And the one place they went to, I want to say it was like Jamaican cuisine. I could be wrong on that because they went to so many different places. But while he was there, just sitting there, eating like a man of the people, saying hi to different people, one person came over to him that was his babysitter. It was like Michael K. Williams gave you a tour of his neighborhood because he was giving you a tour of his neighborhood. And I remember, I suggest anybody who watched The Wire, go watch that last episode of Anthony Bourdain, No Reservations on CNN. I think it's on Hulu, might be where I saw it. But I'm sure you can find it. But it's a great episode, him in Brooklyn, going through all the different neighborhoods in Brooklyn. A phenomenal episode. Michael K. Williams is featured predominantly in it. And at the same time, another actor from The Wire is also seen in that same episode. Just by chance, they literally bump into each other at the same restaurant. It's incredible. And it's not even like a fancy restaurant. It's a neighborhood restaurant. Like we would go to a sandwich shop here in Philly. That's like our favorite. These guys go to this particular corner store, restaurant. There was one more thing I wanted to mention here. Two things, actually. And I want to make sure I get this right because I had never seen this before. I had never seen this before type of moment. And it was an intentional balk that happened over the weekend. An intentional balk. And our friend Ben Verlander, who has been on the show before, does his own podcast and everything. Ben Verlander, Flippin' Bats podcast. I definitely recommend checking it out. Put it out there on social media. An intentional balk. And this was yesterday, actually. Now, the purpose between the Rays and the Red Sox at Fenway Park. And he says that the Colin McHugh balk was on purpose, according to Ben Verlander, because there was a runner on second base. The runner in this 2-run game doesn't count. They're just trying to get the out to get out of the inning. So rather than have the runner stay at second base, in the 10th inning, they intentionally balk him over because the Rays are up 2 and their pitcher, Colin McHugh, decides to balk him over to third for a less chance. Now, what's to be gained? If the runner stays on second base, the Rays feel like he's stealing signs at second. So he's less likely to do that if you balk him over to third. That was the reason they put him over to third base. I'd never seen that before, an intentional balk. Insane. Last thing on our Morning Rush segment brought to you by Sky Motor Cars and skymotorcars.com. Folks, I need you to send some well wishes, some prayers to my wife. I'll tell you why. It's nice. Today is Lil Toots' first day of daycare. 2 years old. This was the plan. We're sending her out to her first day of school, if you will. And she's only going to be doing the half a day. We're walking her into it. We're walking her through the whole process. I'll be honest. I'm a little. It's one of those things you never think about before you're a parent and you're in the situation. First day daycare, April. I remember you mentioned this the other day about your daughter's first day in middle school. This is my daughter's first day of us releasing her into the wild, more or less, at the daycare teachers' disposal, more or less. Like they'll be doing the lesson plan and all that, and then amongst other kids that we don't know. So here we go. It's basically my kid going to college, as far as I'm concerned, and she's only 2 years old. So any well wishes you want to send my wife and maybe me, it would be greatly appreciated later on. But hey, let's go Phillies. Let's hope they get another win today. And April's right on it. Oh, she'll do great. First day of school is hard. First day is hard. I'm sure it is. Thanks, everybody. No, I love you. Have a great rest of your day. I'll be back with you guys tomorrow. Jim Hyden, PJ, producer Jim, produced the program. This is a Buzz Sports and Entertainment production. My name is Marc Farzetta. Have a great rest of the day, everybody. From the Steven Singer Studios. Take it easy. Let's go, Phils. See ya.